Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Shoaib Sadat, and I welcome you to this new exciting series that I'm bringing for all of you. This is Data Science for Doctors. I'm sorry for the subtitle there, A Dummy's Guide, but this is exactly what it is. This is basically the whole intention is to make it so simplified that even a dummy can understand that. So let's get started right away without wasting a lot of time. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm a renal doctor and I'm currently working for NHS UK. I'm currently in Portsmouth here, and I'm a data scientist, recently got my Dell certification, and I'm a clinical researcher as well, and have worked on many projects, many research projects, mostly in the field of medicine, neurology, nephrology, and cardiology as well. And I have no disclosures to make, and you can find much more about me by going to this website, which is www.shoaibsadat.com. So let's get started about this series, and what is this all about? So basically, let's get started with the fact of what is data science. Now, this is this new exciting field that has emerged over the last 10 to 15 years, and the need of this field was because there was a lot of data being generated every day, and this is pretty evident today with the advent of modern mobiles and computers and whatnot. There is an immense amount of data that is being generated at every given second. Now, there was a need to have someone who could hack into this data and make sense out of it. So the role of a data scientist emerged. So what basically is a data scientist? A data scientist is a merger of three qualities, as mentioned there. The first is statistics. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know the basics of statistics, and that's all that you need. Computer science. If you are good at a language like Java or like C++, C#, you are a perfect candidate. But if you don't know, don't worry about that. We'll cover that in this series. And thirdly, domain knowledge. And I'm sure you must have some domain knowledge because I'm expecting you to have some understanding of the questions that you need to answer. This is all basically the domain knowledge is. Say, for example, you need to answer a medical question. You should have some idea about what that question is and what is the science behind that. So this is basically understanding the question and knowing something about that. And then there was this amazing article in the Times magazine, I think, which actually called the data scientist being the sexiest man or the sexiest job of the 21st century. This is interesting, but I thought this is an interesting thing to mention here. What actually got me interested is that in the future, all the randomized controlled trials, which are currently, by the way, considered to be the gold standard of proving anything in the field of medical science, will have to be preceded by a data science quest. Now, that means that a data scientist would have a look at all the data available about a certain question, and then he will decide whether a randomized controlled trial should be carried or not. So that's basically going to be the importance of a data scientist in the coming times. And then finally, data is everywhere, so you should have some understanding of data around you to make sense. Okay, so why was there a need for this course? Now, I work with many people. In my experience, I'll be honest with you, most of the clinical people and most of the people who are really, specialists in their fields, but not data, they're data ignorant. That means, and in my experience, about 70 to 80% of people that I met were data ignorant. They had no idea about how much, that can be harvested out of the data that they were sitting upon. And then there was this fact of this fear of numbers, fear of statistics. And my aim basically is to end that, to put an end to that. And then this aim from my side is also to make everyone independent in their own data endeavors and data projects. And the idea is to make sure that at the end of this series, you should have at least a comprehensive understanding of how to handle data, and then you should be able to take care of your own mini projects at the least. We will teach you what you are expected to know. So we'll keep ourselves short and we'll only focus on the important things. And then I've been definitely asked by many of my friends to do this series, and I'm more than happy to finally have started this one. Now, the course structure. So how are we going to proceed? So basically there will be 4 modules. Every module will have chapters, and then every chapter will have videos. So the first module is basically an introduction about statistics and analytics. I expected it to be a boring one. So what I did basically is that I incorporated some SPSS into it, so that at the end of this module you should have some basic understanding, some basic tests, and you should be able to perform them on SPSS if you have access to that, of course. The second module is really important. Today, data science is practiced all over the world on different platforms. One of them is R, and the other is Python, and there are many others as well. But R, being an open source language, is available free to everyone, so that you can practice this your data science endeavors on this language for free. The third module will tell you about how to handle an analytics project, and this is basically really one of the most important modules according to me in this whole series. And in the final module, we will learn about will in fact apply everything that we've learned so far into a final capstone project, and that will be hosted on my website, but rest of the videos will be available for everyone to see on YouTube. Now let's very quickly go through every module, and I'm just giving you a teaser, so I'm trying not to make it boring. So it's basically an introduction, a teaser of everything that is about to come. Now in this first module, in the first chapter, we'll have understanding about some basic core statistical concepts, which is like understanding probability theory, data types, measures of central tendencies, spread, and all of that boring stuff. In the second chapter, we will understand, and we'll actually get to the exciting part. We'll do some basic tests, which includes t-tests and a lot of other tests, and we'll do all of them on SPSS. So that will spice up the things a bit more. In the third chapter, my favorite things will actually start coming up. We'll learn about regression, which is basically an amazing modeling technique and which can tell you a lot about your data. You can build predictive models. So we'll learn about what is regression and everything about it. And then in the fourth chapter, we'll understand, and in fact, we'll just have a quick introduction about nonlinear modeling and some of the modern machine learning techniques. We won't go into the extreme details, but we'll just quickly have an introduction about that. Now, in the second module, we'll learn about R, this amazing language that will help you big time in the future if you invest some time in learning it. So we'll have a quick introduction in the first chapter, how to install and get started. In the second chapter, we'll learn about some basic the graphic user interface for a software which is called as RStudio. So that is used basically to do R. We'll learn about some basic commands and some simple troubleshooting and getting help. And in the third chapter, we'll learn some more R language basics, including syntax. And but the most important thing is that you will be learning R from a doctor's or from a medical perspective or from a clinical perspective. That does not mean that all those who are not doctors should not see the series. They should definitely, because this will give them an idea about how to approach any project, any data science project. But this is especially pertaining to the medical fraternity. In the final chapter, we'll learn about some simple statistics, we'll build some amazing graphs, and we'll actually put those tests that we did in SPSS last time, we'll do all of them here in R. We'll do t-tests, chi-squares, and we'll build some amazing, beautiful looking graphs. That's also one of the attractions of doing everything in R. And then we'll go to the third module, which is one of my favorites, by the way. This is all about how to carry on and how to complete an analytics project all by yourself. So in the first chapter, we'll have a quick look at the data analytics life cycle and what is basically the structure that you should follow when you're handling a data science project, the 6 essential steps. And the second chapter, we will actually explain every step in detail. We'll learn about troubleshooting, getting help, and then finally coming up with the final project deliverables, which can be graphs, which can be your project report, which can be anything that you want to deliver. And in the third chapter, we will have some live examples of every step. So we'll actually give some examples of every step that we actually mentioned in the last chapter. Some of the basic steps are given here, which include basically discovering what you want to do, preparing the data, planning for the model, building your models, communicating the results, and then finally producing some core deliverables at the end of your project. And finally, the Capstone project, which is basically the money shot of everything that we have learned so far. We will take one example question, a public question, and then we'll try to answer that. We'll build teams, and by this time I'm expecting all of us to have gelled in together. I'm expecting a community, a fraternity to have evolved, including all the doctors and non-doctors. I'm sorry, I'm mentioning doctors a lot, but that certainly does not mean that the non-doctors can't join in. So all the people from the health fraternity can join in, and by this time I'm expecting us to have made teams, to have made a community around which we can complete this final capstone project. The idea is basically and all of this, by the way, will be taking place on my website, and there will be a proper discussion forum so that every step of this project will be done together, and you can ask questions and you can get answered there. So some of the quick steps: we will choose a public health question, we'll develop a hypothesis, we will go through all the steps of life cycle as we discussed before, and we'll learn how to come to a logical conclusion. Now, once you would have done all of that, you would, in fact, before even embarking upon this thing, you would want to ask, why would you like to join this series, and why is it important for you to join in? In fact, why was there a reason for me to get started with this? So number one, the whole aim of this series is to make you comfortable with data and to get rid of that fear of numbers and statistics that lurks deep inside of us, all of us, the clinicians especially, that we don't want to touch data or talk about data. The other important aspect is to develop a discussion forum where we can discuss the problems that we encounter with our data. This will be an active question answer board where you can share your experiences. I'll be sharing mine, that's for sure. And we can learn from each other. But the most important thing that actually got me interested in starting this series is the fact that I wanted to develop a network of data doctors. So this is a term that I've been coining for the last few years, and I wanted to actually finally make it happen. So I'm happy that I'm starting it, and I'm trying to build a network of data doctors who know about their data and know sufficiently enough to get started with their own projects. And then finally, my aim is to build efficient research teams. You should also be looking forward to join research teams in your neighborhood, or I'll be more than happy to have you in my research team as well. And definitely getting published. Who does not want to get published? And so that's basically one of the other aims of this series. And yeah, I know. So you've read it. So also being the sexiest doctors on planet Earth. So it's just the beginning. It's just getting started. There is a lot to come. There is a lot to understand and learn, and a lot to apply. I will try my best to keep it simple. I'll try my best to answer your queries and make sure that you understand whatever that I'm coming up with. What I need in return is I need your feedback. Some of the disclaimers: the number and the length of the videos might vary, but I'll try to keep it short, concise, and simple, thus the name, A Dummy's Guide. And all the uploaded videos will be available from my website, and I'll try to upload them on YouTube for free as well, so that you can see them and share them for free. but the final capstone project will be exclusively available only on my website. So finally, before I put an end to this long ordeal of a video, I'd like to thank all of those who have encouraged me to make this video. I'd like to thank you to have survived the video. Please leave your comments. I want your feedback. That is a must. That will encourage me to make more of these videos. Visit my website. So I'll leave a link to my website at the end of this video. Go there and let me know how you felt about this idea, this project. And yeah, and thank you so much again for joining me in. Ciao for now.